12. Congressional Budget Office. The Congressional Budget Office impounded with the Control Act of the 1974 and able to provide with the Congress proceed with the established report for the spending with the revenue levels of each year. Congressional budget process with the set out with the act with the designated with the coordinated with the decision source of the level of revenue object with any level of expeditionary with the basic method of the prescribed with the overall set with the official pie with a particular shot with the various product piece for the each of the year with the Congress adapt with the concurrent resolution then pose with the overall constraint with the revenue spending with the distribution with the overall constraint with the spending with among with the group program the activities. Congress aimed at the complete action with the concurrent resolution on the budget over the next fiscal year with the April 15th with the Congress may adopt the later budget resolution with the review of the most recently adopted the budget resolution with the mechanism for the Congress used to implement with the constraint with the revenue spending with the cost of the reconciliation. Implementation constraint with the revenue spending with the reconciliation process with the reconciliation multi-step with the process with the design with the bringing the existing level of conformity most recently adapt with the constraint with the resolution of the budget first step with doing the reconciliation process with the language found with the concurrent resolution with the budget increase with the House with the time with the committee with the determine the recommended change with the law with the chief with the constraint step with the concurrent resolution on the budget with the instruction of the committee with specify with the amount with the spending with the production revenue change with the committee with the must retain leave with the discretion of the committee specify with the change of the laws and bill with the must be made subsequent substance involved with the combination with the very for the instruct with the committee with the recommendation of the omnibus reconciliation bill with the bills will which are reported by a committee with the budget of the one committee to instruct the day of the one over the committee with the has been instructed with the control with the five of the House over the Senate with the reconciliation bill with the report from the committee are entitled with the expedite of the consideration permanent measure over the Senate with the red within 60 with the ensure with the consideration over the limited time with the amendments. Congress aimed at the complete action with the reconciliation measure specified the date each year with the budget act for the maintain with the reconciliation provisions must be related to reconciling the budget with the principle codified with the Section 313 Budget Act, the so-called with the Byrd Rule with the named act of the Senator Robert C. Byrd Rule of the West Virginia Section 313 provides appointed order Senate with against the extraneous mandate with the reconciliation bill with the determining with the difficult task of the Senate with the presiding off of the bill by Byrd Rule may only be waived. In the Senate, with the 3/5 of the vote, 60 votes with the required for the overturning of the presiding officer of the ruling after the Congress complete with the action current with the resolution budget with the official with the budget act with the provides the point with the order again for the legislation does not conform with the constraint with the spending with the revenue set out with the resolution. Both the House and the Senate have the belief of the budget and fourth of the mechanism formerly known as pay as you go over the pay go over the under of the system with the no order of the constraint of the legislation with the increase with the deficit reduced surplus overall given the period of the official year with the not in order of the constraint of the concurrent resolution on with the budget with the amendment thereto with the conference of the reporting thereon contained with the reconciliation directives if the effect is such measure for the increase of the official with the reduce the surplus over the given and official year of the unfunded mandated the Reform Act of 1995 through the amendment of the Congressional Budget Act itself with the requirements of the committee with the respect with the measure contained with the unfunded intergovernmental intergovernmental mandates unfunded intergovernmental mandated is the imposition of substantial financial requirement of the obligation of the state, local, tribal government. Act is established for the unique point of the order and for the requirements of the act with the respect of the government mandate for the excess of the given and the threshold of the on the House of the unfunding with a mandate point of the orders does not dispose of the ruling of the chair, but the chair putting on the consideration of the body of the House of the committee with the whole decides to vote whether or not to proceed to over the measure of the allocated with the mandate with the contained therein. 13. Engrossment of the message to the Senate with the preparation of a copy of the bill in which will form passed with the House with the detail of the complicated with the process of the call of the large number of the complex with amendments to some of the bills adopted with the House of the amendments may also with the during with the period of debate with no prior formal preparation of the amendment may be for the purpose of serve with the new languages substitute for the different words of the set out with the bills leading with a portion of the bill and some case with the amendments offered from the floor written longhand. Each amendment will be inserted with the precisely proposed of the place of the bill with the spelling with the punctuation exactly with the adopted the House of the bill extremely important with the Senate with the receive the copy of the bill and the precise with the form in which the pass for the House of the preparation such of the copy as the function of the enrolling clerk. In the House, the enrolling clerk is under the clerk of the House and the enrolling clerk is under the secretary of the Senate. When the enrolling the clerk receives all of the papers related with the bill, including with the official clerk's copy of the bill reported by the Senate committee. Each of the amendment adopted with the House, with the material of the enrolling clerk prepared with the engrossed copy of the bill passed with the contained with all the amendments agreed with the House. This form of the measure contained with the technically to be called the bill called an act, and signifying that an act of the body of one body with the Congress, all of those most popularly referred to as a bill. Engrossed bill with an printed over the blue paper and signed with the clerk of the House. The bills are mostly originate with the Senate with certain exemptions for discussion bill originating in the Senate Part 16. Alright, 14. Senate action. Parliamentation in with the Vice President with the President saying with the refer for the engrossed bill with the appropriate standing committee with the Senate with the conformity of the rules of the Senate with the bill reported immediately with a copy with the made with available with the document the rule of the House with the printing of it known as the act print with the Senate referred print. Committee considerations on it. Committee will give the bill with the same the detailed consideration received the House and made with the bill with or without a minimum of the committee with a member who wishes with the info of the individual review of the group of the members who wish to file with the majority of the report may do so with the given the notice of the time of the review with the report of measure with the intent with the file and supplement with a minority with additional views. These views may be filed with 3 days with the clerk of the committee becoming with the report of the part of the report of the committee reports of the bill reprinted with the committee with the amendment as indicated with the showing with the new matter with the italics with the deleted with the matter in the line through with the type of the command under the number with the report with the number indicated first and back page together with the name of the senate of the bank and with the making the report of the committee choose the file with the report and accompanying with the bill and then at the time along with the minority and the individual views. All committee meetings with include with the conduct with the hearings must open as well with the majority of the members of the subcommittee and committee and subcommittee may after the discussion with the closed session vote with the opening session close with the mention meetings here with the mention may meetings same subject and with no more than 14 days with determined later determine the matters discussed the testimony of the debate and will be disclosed matters to be kept secret within the interest of the national defense of the qualified confidential conduct foreign relations United States that relate solely with the internal committee staff of the management with the procedure will attend to the charge of the individual for the crime misconduct with the grace for the injury of the professional stand with the individual oversight otherwise expose the individual to public contempt of the represent with a clearly unwarranted invasion of the privacy of the individual with the scope of the law enforcement information required for the kept secret with the scope of certain information regarding certain trade secret that made the scope of the matter required with the kept with the confidential and with the provisional law of the government regulation chamber proceed with the rules of the receive with the same with the different from the large extent with the house with the same with the relies heavily on the practically obtained with the unanimous consent with the action with it be taken for example the time of the bill with the reported majority of the leader may also the unanimous consent with the immediate consideration of the bill with the non-controversial nature with no objection some that may pass with the bill with little or no debate with only with a brief explanation for the purpose of effectively any of the objection over the purpose of the must lie with the legislative day of the bill is a place on the calendar members report with the abstaining with the committee senate may not be considered unless the report of the committee has been available to some of the members at least 2 days Saturday Sundays and legal holidays prior with the consideration measure for the same with the requirement that may be waived with agreement of the majority of the minority leaders does not apply with a certain emergency situation whether no report has submitted with the measure incentive of the measure program brought up with the consideration simply in the anonymous consent with the request of complete anonymous consent with agreement attended by or by motion proceed with the consideration measure for the calendar anonymous consent with agreement sometimes referred to as time agreement makes the consideration measure in order to often limit it over the amount with a debate that will be taking place from the measure listed in the amendments that will consider the offering the anonymous consent with the request to consider the measure of the offering with a motion to proceed with the consideration of the measure reserved by tradition with the majority leader of the usually a motion consider with the measure of the calendar is made only with the unanimous consent with the consider the measure that cannot be obtained. There are 2 calendars for the same of the calendar of business for the executive calendar for the legislation place for the calendar business for the trades for the nomination place on the executive calendar and like the House for the non-differential for the calendar business between the 2 commitments. 1 bills raising revenue general operations bills of the public character for the appropriating money in the property or property 2 for the other bills of the public character for the non-appropriating money or property. Rules of the Senate provide with the conclusion over the morning business of each of the legislative day the Senator proceed with the consideration of the calendar and some of the term legislative day means a period of the time the pair Senate adjourned until the next time the Senate adjourned with the because of the Senate often reshuffled rather than adjourns at the end of the daily session of the legislative day, but usually the day does not correspond with a 24-hour period with the compromise of the calendar day. The legislative day may cover along with the period of time with the day, with the week, with the even, the month, by cover with these modern practice with the waiving of the calendar, with the call of the calendar by concern with the start of the new legislative day, with the rare of the call of the calendar when the calendar is called. Bills are not objected to the taken up within their order each time there is until the speak once for the 5 and for 5 minutes only. And at the end of the question objection may be interested pose any stage for the proceeding with the motion the same and they consider the consideration after the call for the calendar is complete with limitation with the debate that do not apply. On any day other than the Monday beginning with the new legislative day following with the announcement of the close of the business day morning business for the nation with the usually majority of the leader overtaining with the recognition that may move to take up the bill without the regular order of the calendar. 5-minute limitation of the debate does not apply with the consideration bill taken up with this may of the debate may continue until an hour when the presiding officer of the Senate lays down with the unfinished business of the day. If the point consideration of the bill continually discontinue with the measure reverts back to the calendar of business may again with the call upon another time under the same conditions. When the bill has been rejected, the passer over the call with the calendar for the not necessary law for the majority leader for the after with the consult with the minority leader determines of the time in which of the bill will consider the time of the motion made with the consider the bill. The motion is debatable if made within the morning hour. The senator is recognized with the presiding officer. Senator that may speak as long as the senator wishes loses floor when the senator yields and takes certain parliamentary actions for forfeit or senator of the right to the floor. However, the senator may not speak with more than twice over the one question of the debate with the same legislative day without leave of the senator of the debate with the end of the senator with the yield of the floor with no other senator with the seat with the recognition and anonymous consent with the agreement limiting time of delay debate. The dictate with the debate is concluded on occasion with the senator with the opposed to the measure with the may extend with the debate with the making legislative speech with the number of speeches of various stages of consideration intended to prevent the defeat action with a measure with the tactic of known as fill or buster with the debate must be with the close within 16 senators single sign a motion to that effect with a motion to be carried with the 3/5 of the Senate with the duly chosen and sworn with the warrants motion was voted on 1 hour after the Senate convenes following a quorum on the next day after the day of the session has intervened. The procedure is called the invoking closure. In 1986, the Senate amended the rule to limit the post-closure of the consideration to 30 hours. Post-closure, a Senate may speak with no more than 1 hour with may yield with all of the part of the time of the majority of the minority flow and manage of the bill with consideration to the minority and majority leaders of the Senate. The main crew for the time of the post-closure debate with a vote when 3/5 of the time of the duly chosen and sworn with the time of the debate with the express of the term of the may consider the amendment is actually pending for the voting on the misbilling. Well, measuring is being considered the subject of the amendment. Each of the amendment include the proposal of the committee for the report on the bill is considered the separate with the general leaders and no requirement of the proposed amendment that germane to subject matter of the bill, except for the general operation of the bill with the closure has been invoked under the rule of the rider, and an amendment proposing a substantive legislation to the appropriate operation bill is prohibited to have the prohibition may be suspended with a 2/3 of the vote motion with a permit consideration. This is amendment 1 day's notice of the writing to the debate must be the germane during the first 3 hours after the business is laid down, unless determined by the contrary unanimous consent with a motion without debate after a final action of the amendment. The bills are ready for the engrossment of the third reading, which is titled only with a proceeding officer with the question of the passage of the voice of the usually taken through a yea and nay vote in order to demand 1/5 of the Senate present similar majority of the necessary passage of the before an amended measure of the clear of the return of the House represented the unamended measure cleared enrollment. Senator voted with the prevailing side with the was estranged from the voting, making a motion within the next 2 days of the reconsidered action of the measure of the was passed with a recorded vote of the Senator may make with the motion, reconsider with the motion, usually tabled and tabling constitute with the final determination. However, the motion with the granted with the Senate with the majority vote with the may either affirm the action with become with the final or reverse it. Original engrossed House of the bills within growth the Senate amendment of engrossed original Senate above the case may be the return of the House of the mentioned stating the action which is to be taken by the Senate has the adopted amendment to make request of the House and grow within them. More detailed discussion Senate procedure seat enactment of law Robert D. Dove of the Foreign Parliament of the Senate's 15 final action of the amendment on amended bill.